That's what they're trying to sell us out there.
Absolutely.
You need the latest
newer,
phone.
bigger, better.
You need it to go. You need it to go a millisecond faster when you click. You need that video to download a millisecond faster. I mean, seriously?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I'm on.
Technical difficulties. All right.
Well, welcome to podcast number
75.
75.
Yeah.
My goodness, this is what's the stone that indicates the 75th anniversary? Is this a
I don't know.
Yeah, I think 25 is silver, 50 is gold. So this might be our platinum episode, maybe.
You think?
Maybe.
I'm going to go with something not platinum.
No?
Mm-mm.
Well, 75, that's quite a number. And I hope and I pray that these podcasts
The diamond
anniversary.
Diamond.
I hope and pray that these podcasts, all 75 of them, are helpful to you in your pursuit of the Lord and to inspiring you to take up the mission of transfiguration for yourself. The mission which is, Justin, what?
To bring all those in the East Metro to Christ, the source and summit of our daily and eternal lives.
Indeed, we're trying. And we are trying to give a wonderful and beautiful Lent. We're
in Lent.
We're in day, what are we, day 6, I guess, because last Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Tuesday of Lent 1. So last Wednesday was Ash Wednesday, and here we are in day
7,
6.
Right?
Yeah, day 7. Yeah, exactly.
7.
That's right. My math is not great.
How's it going?
Oh, it's got its ups and downs. It's for many of you are aware, if you haven't heard it explicitly, you certainly can smell it on my body. I enjoy cigarettes, and I have recently tried to give it up. Lent was such an opportunity, and I've stumbled a bit, and I've discovered that I'm pretty attached to these things. Other parts of Lent have gone very well. My extra prayer, some of the other Lenten disciplines I've embraced. But yeah, the smoking is hard. People told me, Father, giving up smoking is going to be hard. They said, I can do this. Give me a break. I can do this. Hardy har. But, I'm trying, and I hope and pray that everybody else's Lent is going all right. What about for you? How's Lent gone? How's all 7 of Lent gone? 7 days of Lent gone?
Pretty good. This is for me. This is the year of discipline. It's I'm just trying to be more disciplined, and to not beat myself up about the little things, or to be so incredibly rigid. I think sometimes we set, maybe even unrealistic goals at the beginning, and to be a little less rigid about them and be a little more flexible, that the consistency is probably the best thing. And, so one of them is like running every single day. Yeah. And I intended on running in the morning every single day. But, in Minnesota, running in the morning is like potentially quite dangerous because the black ice is crazy. Yeah. And I'm a big, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
You're a big dude.
If I think I pulled, I kind of pulled a little bit of my groin, but I almost pulled like an oblique the other day because I slipped so much that I was like going down a little hill. What's
pulling an oblique? That's
like your side abdominal muscles.
Huh, okay.
The obliques on the side there.
Wow.
It can hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Like baseball players pull their obliques. Often, and because you're straining so much to hit the ball, a million miles an hour, like Aaron Judge.
Okay, yeah. Aaron Judge, didn't he do Beavis and Butthead?
Aaron Judge.
Oh, that's Mike Judge. Never mind.
I have no clue.
Never mind.
Is that the director or something?
I think he was the creator of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, I don't know. So yeah, I don't like the slipping and sliding and the ice and all that stuff. So I've given myself a little more freedom. And then also this morning I hopped on the treadmill, and the treadmill belt flipped over.
Oh, no!
And, wasn't quite. So I have to either fix that, or the treadmill's gonna go in the garbage, because a new belt is $100, and I only paid $200 for the treadmill. It's probably got 1,000 miles on it though, so it's secondhand. It's worth it.
Yeah,
I think
I think so too.
It's lived a good life, but it's gigantic.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a bear to get out of that house.
Yeah, I'd have to take it apart.
I got to say, I had the opportunity to be at your lovely home on Saturday, and it's a beautiful home. It's got a very unique setup in the sense of you got to climb up some steps to get there. And I just want to ask, when you and Shelley purchased it, were you drawn into it because of sort of its aesthetics? Because I think it's a pretty rad.
Yeah,
spot.
mostly. Yeah, mostly. I mean, the one downfall is the big downfall is it doesn't have a dining room.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have the porch is awesome. We love the porch, and in the summer and spring and fall, we kind of live in there. Yeah. The winter, it's kind of done. So, yeah, we'd like to make it a 4-season porch. We'd have to get all new windows and all that stuff, but yeah, I mean the steps. There's 30 or 2 or whatever steps up to our house, and I built them with. When we moved in, they were falling apart. They were kind of junky, and it wasn't even treated wood. Now they're all railroad ties. Oh, okay. So I bought 100 railroad ties, and
wow, how much does 100 railroad ties cost you?
It was $700.
Okay,
with delivery. Okay, so that was nice. The delivery was nice. I think they were $5 a piece, but then I gave him $200 for delivery because he brought it in a semi. For
sure, right.
It would have been impossible for me to get 100.
Pick them up.
They were way down. They were an hour south. So
okay,
yeah, that was worth it. $700 for 30 some steps. That's a pretty darn good deal.
Cool, very good.
Just went through a lot of chainsaw chains. That's how you cut them up.
Okay,
and they're all grimy and mucky.
Sure. Yeah,
if you used a regular saw, it'd be full of gunk.
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah. That was fun. That was one summer.
Yeah.
I've built a lot of stuff there.
That's great.
Lots of the backyard. The house is wonderful in the summer.
I can imagine.
Even better. We got a nice patio that I built. And
nice.
And tree house will be going up this summer.
How far back does your property go? How far back is that? Is the yard?
A couple 100 feet.
Okay.
But I mean, our property per se goes back a couple 100 feet, but there's no one back there.
Right.
So it's woods and deer and squirrels.
It's
and
wonderful.
Stuff, so
sounds great.
We see a fox every once in a while.
Well, what does the fox say?
Yeah. It's funny because we have heard the fox yelp.
Yeah.
And we got woken up one night at 2 a.m. It was doing its mating call and walking circles around our yard.
Oh, wow.
So we woke up and thought...
Was it looking for Moses? Looking for a date?
No. There was a female out there, too, because they were kind of calling back and forth. I don't know what they... Whatever. I haven't studied these animals, but that was just what it seemed like was happening.
By the way, listener, Moses is Justin's dog.
Moses is the dog.
Yeah.
No, Moses would have... Yeah, he would have been intrigued. He probably would have tried to chase him.
I'm curious, and I don't want to get too dark here, but I mean, with your beautiful daughter, the age she is, would a fox be an actual danger to her? No. Okay, I'm not even really aware how big foxes get.
Pretty darn small.
Okay.
Maybe 30 pounds.
Okay.
They're pretty small. Yeah.
Okay. So, but a wolf obviously would be a different matter, right?
Yeah. I mean, no.
No.
I mean. No, they're scared of us.
Okay.
I mean, even a coyote is going to run away when you come outside. So we're much more of a threat to them than they want to eat us.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, they don't care to eat. They can eat plenty of turkeys in our neighborhood and everything else. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing the fox eat rabbits maybe. Okay. I don't know what they eat.
Okay. Fox probably would. A deer is probably gonna be too big for a fox, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But a fawn, it would a little baby deer.
I doubt it.
Still too big.
I highly doubt it.
Okay.
They're teeny.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really little.
Maybe some biologists out there can let us know.
Yeah.
For our assessments.
What does the fox eat? I know what it sounds like. I have it recorded on my phone. It does make a yelp.
Okay.
It's a weird. So we woke up at 2 a.m. What the heck is it? It was in the summer, so our windows are open. I thought, what is that? It's like a we thought it was like a goose dying or something, like what the heck. So I recorded it, and then we looked it up on YouTube. I was like, oh, that's exactly a fox. And then I went outside, and it was circling our yard. So I don't know if it was, I'm guessing it was some type of mating ritual.
Okay, they're on the prowl.
Yeah, literally.
You recently completed a book, and
I read a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that Gaffigan? That is Gaffigan.
Maybe that's right.
He jokes that he never reads, and then I read a book. I'd like to talk about it.
I remember a great line in Star Trek Next Generation. There's a character by the name of Q. He's this kind of omnipotent creature guy, and he says to the security officer Worf, who's this, who's a Klingon. So Klingons are, war, we will destroy everything. And
they got the weird heads.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And Q says, "Hey, Worf, eat any good books recently?" Pretty good line. So, what was the book about?
I read a book.
Yeah,
it's called "The Joy of Poverty" or something like that. The Joy of what the heck's it called? By Cardinal Avery Dulles.
Oh, indeed.
Right?
Okay.
The something of poverty.
Was this
should be prepared. This is what we're talking about.
Now, this wasn't a recent book, was it? He composed this before his imprisonment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy are the
I'm sorry,
poor.
Dulles. I'm getting confused. Dulles. I'm getting confused.
Sorry. This is Thomas Dubay.
Okay.
This is not Avery Dulles.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, Dubay.
Dubay.
You're probably aware of this. He was a local boy.
I heard that recently.
Yeah,
from Father Lynch.
I think he was a son of St. Charles Borromeo Parish. I think he was a marist. At St. Louis for a while.
Yeah.
I think
that's where Father Lynch ran into him.
Yeah,
at St. Louis, King of France.
And of course, a TV personality for a while there. He would be on EWTN talking about spirituality, and he had a book that I read. What was it? Something about prayer. Long time ago. The cover's got the Angelus, those two people out in the field.
This one does too.
Or no. Wait a second.
Happy are the poor.
I think
That's what this one is.
I think the one I read was actually The Fire Within. Never mind.
Maybe he uses the same. He used the same cover. Maybe
Ignatius Press probably.
Is it?
Well, tell me about poverty. Tell me about
Ignatius.
What was good about the book? What challenged you, and what thoughts do you have?
Yeah, so it's called Happy Are the Poor: The Simple Life and Spiritual Freedom. There's a lot of things that struck me. It was quite convicting, that's for darn sure, especially before Lent. I just finished it. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is real poverty. Like there's fake poverty or fake kind of alms. Like we're in the season of Lent, prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, and we give alms. One of the lines that struck me the most was he kind of did a thought experiment in some ways. Think of you're being asked to give to a charitable donation, and you use the words, or we've heard these words, or we've thought these words. Can we afford it? And he says, what we really mean is, can we do this without changing anything in our life?
Yeah, is this going to hurt me?
Yeah. Can I do this and still have all of my subscriptions to the video stuff? And can I still buy the clothes? Can I still go out to eat? Can I still spend? Can I still have this car? Can I still have the house? Can I still have all of this stuff? Is this going to... So basically, will this change my life at all?
Yeah.
And most of the time, when we say, can we afford it? We want to be able to say, no, this is going to change my life at all. This is from the slush fund or something,
Right. What's left
this
over.
This is from the extra.
Yep.
And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't anything. And that was quite convicting. And I think just in general, just in general, that what do we really need to live with? What do we really need? And I kind of went back a little bit to my days at the Companions of Christ, where biannually every 6 months we would go through all of our possessions, and we'd get rid of stuff. We called it the purge, not like the movie, but
a little bit less violent than that.
Different, more healthy purge. Yes, and then also the superior of the house would come through and would be able to evaluate what you're going to get rid of or keep, and would be able to say on top of that, no, I think you're too attached to X, Y, and Z. You should get rid of it. I remember one time Father Jeff made me get rid of my favorite shirt, and that was why.
Yeah,
because he somehow knew it was my favorite shirt.
Yeah, Well,
so he said, "No, I think you should get rid of that." I said, "Okay."
Yeah,
and
God bless you. That's God bless you.
And you think like, oh man, my favorite shirt. I don't care about that stupid shirt anymore. You know, I don't care about that shirt anymore.
Yep.
So we kind of had a rule. We had some guidelines of this is really how many pants you need. This is how many shirts you really need.
Yeah.
And, for the rest of it is, do I desire this variety of wardrobe?
Sure.
Am I doing this for other people?
Right.
I have this variety of wardrobe because I don't want people to think I only have 5 shirts and 3 pair of pants.
Yeah.
And, most of it is just like, why?
Yeah.
Who cares?
No, we can become incredibly attached to stuff. I know that I certainly am. And yeah, I think as you're talking like that, I think about my own closet and how much crap I've gotten there. And yeah, I really should take some time in this season and really go through it. And I got stuff in the basement, I don't know if it came from the companions or I've just heard a good general principle, which actually I think is pretty good for the priest, different for lay people, especially for the married. But you should be able to fit all of your possessions, for the most part, within your car. And I think that's a pretty good rule.
Yeah, Father's going to go buy a 12-person,
exactly, that's right,
12-passenger van.
Chastix, if you want to sell your Catholic ATV, let me know. I hesitate only because, I could see an argument being made for like a library, but these days, so much is available online as well.
And you can go to the thing called the library.
The library, exactly. The Lord says, as the title of the book indicates, blessed are the poor in spirit, happy are the poor in spirit. And I do think that, especially here in the very comfortable U.S. and in the very comfortable East Metro, Oakdale, Woodbury, Lake Elmo, Maplewood area, East St. Paul, we have to really think about what does that mean. It's incredibly easy, I think, because we don't want to suffer, to spiritualize it and to think about poverty of spirit, primarily as a matter of humility or some other virtues that are very demanding and powerful, but we can just say them without much thought.
Or it's just about detachment.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh no, it's okay. I'm not attached to this stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right. When in reality, the Lord seems to call the Christian to a kind of an austerity. I do think, and I think it was St. Thomas Aquinas who said that, you also have. Clearly there are different levels of what that's going to look like. The religious, the sister in Lake Elmo Monastery, the Carmelites, they're going to live poverty in a very different way than Justin Cordham, who's got a family to support. And I think that's part of where prudence comes in. You have to figure what you truly need. I also think too, and here's where I think the reflections of St. Thomas comes in, that there's also the right to provide for a certain level of leisure in one's life and one's family's life. And that can require a certain amount of wealth or activities that you have available, such as movies and things like this. But how quickly we become attached to this stuff, how quickly we become attached to comfort. And final point I promise here in these remarks, I've reflected frequently from the pulpit that I remember when I was a seminarian and how readily I would give to causes that asked for my support. And I don't say that out of any pride. I say that because of how different it is now. Now that I have a much larger amount of discretionary funds, I actually find myself more miserly than back then. I got more money to play with and to do stuff with, and I don't want to say I'm counting pennies.
You're building more bins.
Well, exactly, and it's disgraceful and it's hard. But it does seem to be something about when you get more stuff, you sometimes just want more stuff.
Yeah.
And the less stuff that you have, the more the more you are free of slavery to it, and that's pretty darn important for the spiritual life for everybody, not just for religious and priests, but for everybody.
Yeah, and it's not just about detachment. It's not just about the stuff, but it is about I think that's why the subtitle is about spiritual freedom. This is really about giving our life to Christ and not having anything else in the way.
Yeah.
And have the freedom to move, pack up all your stuff in the car, but also have the freedom to be able to say yes to things that you really need to, have the freedom to be hospitable.
Yeah.
Part of that was a different book I was reading about hospitality too, but the observation was the people that had more and nicer houses never had people over, ever, and that was a weird, understanding or rule even of the house is like, no, they're just, it's the hassle, it's just a hassle to have these people over. I do like in the book that 3 of the chapters are devoted to specific ways of life. So he has a chapter on married life, a chapter on priests, and then a chapter on religious.
Oh, beautiful.
So even just the difference between those 3 things as well, and also actually in a lot of ways calls out in the biggest kind of call out in the book is about the religious. And he's really kind of saying, there's a wonderful quote I send out to the guys I really liked. Apostles are, this is on page 74 if you're following along. He said the main point of this chapter is not simply that example moves others to imitate what they have seen. So it is being an example to other people by this radical act of poverty. At this moment, our chief concern is credibility. Our apostles are salesmen. They are selling something, and to sell one must persuade. To persuade one must be believable.
Yeah, amen.
And if we're not, they're not believable. They're losing all this credibility.
Yeah, we speak about the kingdom of God and build up for yourself treasure in heaven. But yeah, if the religious, and I think it goes for the priest too, is clearly interested in stuff in an inordinate way, it is a pretty countersign, about what really matters.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, I think for us priests, as us diocesan priests, now we take what's called a promise of simplicity of life. So this is different than the evangelical vow that a religious takes of poverty, but simplicity of life. And that, I think that gets to this whole idea of you should be able to put all of your belongings in the car so that you're ready to move because you are a man on the move. At least that's what you're supposed to be. You're a man who is a father, but you are sent on behalf of the father of the diocese, the bishop. So where he sends you, you go on his behalf, and you are ready to go. But that simplicity, it's so. Again, I mean, our life can be challenging. Our life can be stressful. And in the midst of those stresses, it can be incredibly easy to look for creature comforts. And it's compounded by the fact that we don't have to support a biological family. So, we can go home and just stuff our face with, potato chips and beer and other, and other vices, in a way that the married person, of course they can, but they don't have that kind of live-in conscience to say, Justin, what are you doing? What are you doing? I bring that up with connection to simplicity because, the priest needs to have recreation, needs to have opportunities for relaxation and to be human, but he also needs to be very careful if he is receiving his principal consolation not from the Lord and from intimacy with him, but more from movies, more from video games, more from whatever else, lawful or unlawful recreation, which again, all of which demands money, all of which demands a certain level of investment that could be going elsewhere. So, but the fundamental point that you made, I think, is the most important one, and that is that we rely upon the Lord. We rely upon the Lord for what we need. Somebody gave me a great principle, I thought, of poverty of spirit is that, we are, what is it? We accept what was it? We accept what is available. We accept what is offered, rather than going out to look for additional stuff. There's a kind of a spiritual attitude that we accept what is offered to us. If we're striving to live this poverty, we accept the providence of the day, and rather than taking, we say, okay, I got to make a meal for this coming Thursday for myself, for my family. Well, rather than coming up with this big, massive idea and going out and buying all this stuff, we look in our cupboard. What's available, and we're going to use what's here right now. What is offered to us by this circumstance.
It's kind of the IKEA spirituality too.
Yeah,
this continual upgrade. That's the premise that IKEA is built on. That every 7 years you get new stuff, and you redo your cabinets, you redo your everything. I mean, that's some of the reasons why the stuff is kind of cheap-ish,
right.
I mean, in that it's really only going to last maybe 10 years or something. But, that's a huge temptation in our culture now to upgrade.
Every year get a new car, get a new lease.
You get a new car. Now, I mean, I'm not against leases. I mean, in some ways they're fiscally not that bad.
Indeed, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely, and they can be responsible.
It can make sense,
yeah.
And also just having a functioning car all the time, if that's
rather helpful.
If you've had some, what do they call bad cars? It's just kind of
a melon.
A melon, yeah. If you've had a number of those, then you kind of tainted. So sometimes but I mean, to have a perfectly fine car and then upgrading or houses. I'm seeing this with houses and friends right now, and just the market for houses. Everyone's just trying to upgrade, and we've thought about this a number of times, and every single time I thought, what is wrong with our house?
Yeah.
Our house is fine, I mean, yeah, we wouldn't mind a dining room that's like a dedicated dining room, but for goodness sakes, do we really need that? No.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of silly. Like, do I really need that? No. I mean, you might, I have a number of running shoes. I have lots of pairs now. But I mean, part of that is just practicality. I run a lot, and if I can't run them into the ground because my knees and everything else is going to fall apart.
Yep.
Once the sole of the shoe falls apart, your knees and your ankles and back and everything else is going to fall apart. So yeah, you get rid of those things. But I don't need to constantly upgrade, my baseball glove because someone else has a nice baseball. Oh, that's a nice glove. I mean, I use the thing 20 times a year for goodness sakes.
Right.
And lots of stuff like that, Phones are an easy one, That's that's what they're trying to sell us out there.
Absolutely.
You need the latest
newer,
phone.
Bigger, better.
You need it to go a millisecond faster when you click. You need that video to download a millisecond faster. I mean, seriously?
Yeah.
No, I don't. What I think, it's not just like I don't know what type of mentality that would be, but it is a freedom to not care about those things.
Yes.
And to care more about Christ and the things that really actually matter. I don't need to be up to date on the Netflix shows that are out there. I don't care. I find it fairly refreshing when someone tells me, well, I haven't watched TV in 5 years or whatever,
Yeah.
I find it incredibly, one of my role models as a kid and even as an adult in many ways when it came to poverty was Father Denny Dempsey.
Oh, sure.
And
may he rest in peace.
Yeah, God bless him. I mean, yeah, hopefully he's interceding for us, man. Father Denny was a pretty serious role model. I mean, he lived this quite radically.
Yeah.
And some may have thought...
Did he even own a car?
I would guess.
Okay.
I mean,
he biked most places,
yeah,
right?
he biked everywhere. I mean,
throughout the year, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was hit by a car not that long ago here in the winter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he just lived a simple life, and he got into a rectory that had lots of nice stuff. And he gave it away.
Yeah.
And people are, oh, come on, Father, this is a gift or whatever, or you should be able to use nice stuff. And I mean, his answer is kind of just, why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Keep first things first.
Yeah. I liked what you said about the shoes and the practicality of things. Even thinking about IKEA, I think about the incredible quality of Amish furniture. This stuff that is built to last. And it's beautiful and sturdy and a real work of art. And so I think that there's something really to be said about investing in such things that are good and that sometimes will even cost you a bit more. So I don't think either one of us is saying that you can't have nice things, but just make sure that you're buying them for the right reason. I think about you mentioned about building the treehouse in the backyard, and that's going to involve stuff. It's another thing, but it's something which will add quality and enjoyment to your family in a way that will draw you together and provide your daughter with delight. So these are things that I don't think are in any way dangerous, but motivation matters, and we have to constantly be examining, why do I want this? Why do I need this? Again, I think about in my closet. The last time I wore 75% of the stuff in that closet was like before I was ordained. So why in the world do I still have this stuff?
6 months, get rid of it.
I mean, it's preposterous. Now, part of that is people are very generous with gifts. They give sweatshirts and sweaters like the one I'm wearing right now. But yeah, I need to clean my closet. I gotta clean the basement. I got to get rid of a bunch of stuff. When I left Blessed Sacrament over 4 years ago, it took me like 6 months to 12 months to clear out the garage at Blessed Sacrament. Sorry, Father Benny, because I got so much crap, and it's a bad look, and it just holds us down. So I'm gonna try to do better, and hopefully have a much emptier closet by the end of Lent.
Yeah, it's a freedom from and a freedom for. I mean, I would love to live in a Catholic commune. To be honest, I'll go there. Yeah, I'd love to live in a third order, religious commune. Yeah, and live life. I just think it would allow for a lot of abandonment. I mean, you're just like there's no this is my stuff. I mean, for goodness sakes, that's just kind of silly. And I don't know if that's part of maybe that's part of not having a lot of stuff when I was a kid. But also, like, our house burnt down when I was 18, and I didn't have, we kind of rented a house for a while, and I didn't have a lot of nostalgic stuff. I didn't have that high school T-shirt from, 8th grade that I wore until it was in tatter. I just didn't have that. Yeah. But I don't know if that's just a gift or because, part of the companions was very attractive to me, and actually didn't have to be convinced of getting rid of stuff every 6 months. It was a warm reminder of, oh yeah, good, I'm doing this thing and this is great. And I'd love to live in a commune where stuff is in communion. Like, to be honest, let's just think about it. It doesn't make any sense for every single person on my street to have a lawnmower and to have every single person has a shovel, every single person has a well, we don't have a snowblower, but until my back goes out or something. Yeah. Why? What's the point? Like, yeah. Like we're living. Maybe these people aren't going to be on board with it, and that's the main reason. But I'd love to live in and this. I don't think this is very utopic at all. I think it's just kind of common sense in some ways. Like, why does every single person in my neighborhood need a lawnmower? Why? Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think there's a lot to it. I think in the early years of the church, as I understand it, that was sort of one of the principles, is that this was meant to be a real family, the church, and by that I would the parish, the diocese of the time, that people provided for each other's needs, and the wealthy provided for the poor, and the poor assisted the wealthy, and there was this real sense of the body of Christ. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that I wonder, and I'm thinking out loud here, which is always a dangerous thing. The church I might have mentioned this before, in her Catholic social teaching, especially
when it was first beginning to develop, and they're like Leo the 13th, I think. So this is before the turn of the last century, late 1880s, 1890s, I don't know. But we hear a lot about some of the dangers of the city, and we live in very comfortable cities. So you read that kind of idea about how dangerous the city can be for human flourishing and the dignity of the person, and it's kind of laughable because everything is so comfortable here and lovely and beautiful, and it is. But I think one of the challenges of the city, I think, and having people live in individual apartments or homes, is that perhaps there can be a kind of ironically, because everybody's living together in a big space, but ironically, you begin to you have everything that you need from the store, or you can go buy your shovel or your whatever, and so there's not that necessary relationship that you would have, say, in rural life, where you need your neighbor to help you with your field. You need your neighbor, they may grow a different crop than you, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And you really depend upon each other, and in a way that perhaps in the city, it's not as obvious. Anyways, I think I think there's a lot to what you're saying, that we should be depending upon each other a heck of a lot more than we are. Maybe even in the parish too. I know you've talked about that before, that wouldn't it be great if in our bulletin or our website, there was like a kind of a bulletin board where people said, I need some help cleaning the backyard this weekend. Can anybody come? Or, we need to borrow a snowblower. Do you have a snowblower we can use? And somebody brings it over, and that would be quite lovely. And more than just charming and quaint, I think it would be a practical expression of Christian charity.
Yeah. And the book addresses kind of, poverty for the sake of availability, and it's not just that. That is one aspect of it. That's availability is a big part, but poverty in it's really just a freedom to love Christ and to give your life completely more to Him. The rich man is worried about building more bins.
Yeah,
building more stuff and keeping up with the Joneses is a perennial temptation. It's a perennial sin that I see. Ooh, Father, you got a new phone, or something. Don't worry, Father didn't get a new phone. Father got a new whatever. He got a new pair of shoes, and I start to think maybe I need a new pair of shoes. I don't know. I mean, part of it is just not caring what other people have.
Yeah.
And jealousy or envy. I don't think it's envy, because envy is like, I want it, or I don't want you to have it. It's mostly jealousy, I guess. But, there's a freedom to that.
Yes.
Yes. Being poor, I'm not caring about that.
Yeah.
Part of that's
right.
detachment. Part of it is just being in union with Christ a lot more and not caring about that stuff. I mean, I think that's a big witness for me, is to see other people. And I think this can be a help in our culture and in our parish, to be the person that doesn't have, a TV in their living room, and doesn't have all the fancy pants stuff.
Yeah.
Like I completely agree with you with buying good stuff.
Yep.
Because for one, it's just makes more sense. It lasts longer.
Yep.
But also, I don't need all the little knickknacks.
Yep.
What do those do for me? I love the idea of, Mother Teresa's, the missionaries of charity, calling it a cell, and you don't get anything personal in there.
No, it's
There's
true.
nothing personal
Absolutely.
in your cell. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the sisters are moved, sporadically too.
Oh, absolutely.
So they don't even get attached to the location of their room,
that's certainly the goal,
or anything else, or the view out their window or something.
Yeah, that's certainly the goal. Yeah, and I want to emphasize again how important motivation is, because I think about, I know we have a number of folks in the parish who are business owners and who work incredibly hard and are very successful, and I don't see that as problematic one bit.
Yeah.
It all depends upon why you are doing it, and again, if we're acquiring stuff just because we want to keep up with the Joneses, or because we find our identity in our car or in the size of our home, then we got a problem, and that requires a real examination of conscience. But just because one is successful or has expendable wealth, that's I think it can be dangerous. I do, and the Lord says so. But the problem is the motive, and where the heart, where your treasure is, there is your heart. And where is your treasure? Is your treasure in the stuff, in the closet, in your big old TV, or is it in the things that truly matter? I'm always disappointed and saddened when I hear young couples preparing for marriage speak about, their desire to wait to have kids for a couple of years. Which, on one level, a natural level, one can understand, even if I don't think it's the right decision. I think that's got to be a key part of your discernment of marriage. If you're ready to have kids, that's part of, is this the time for marriage? But what's distressing and saddening is that sometimes these very same couples, God bless you, will also have really fancy cars and will have multiple TVs in their home and really successful jobs. And you wonder, well, why, is the priorities in your life, are they where they need to be? And for all of us, not just for those young couples, but for all of us, we need to examine that and see if our priorities are right, and what do our possessions and the stuff we have, what does it say about what's important to us? If some robber came to the rectory tonight and walked into my room, stepped over all the junk and opened up my closet, the guy, I don't know if the guy would know, other than, big old portion of the closet being full of black clothes. But, would he see a man who is striving to live simplicity of life? I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know if he would.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that, and I'm glad you brought it up, that there's nothing wrong with being successful. And, however, Jesus doesn't mince his words when he talks about how difficult it is for the rich person to get into heaven. Another expression we have, and I'm spiritualized. Yeah, and so I think what he's trying to say is this is nearly impossible. Yeah. So don't play around with it. The camel through the needle's eye. That's the eye of a needle. Don't play around with this, because don't try to convince yourself I'm the exception. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. Now, it doesn't mean you quit your wildly successful job. Right. But it does mean that you don't build bigger bins. Yeah. For what do you truly need? The money that you got. What do you need? What does your family need? Not just to get by, but to have a good life. But I think about these wildly successful actors and actresses and celebrities, and how awfully their struggles are oftentimes plastered on the front of the magazines down at Cub Foods. These are people with millions, if not billions, of dollars. Melinda Gates has been in the papers recently talking about the struggle within her marriage to a multi-billionaire. And all that to say, just because you got your stuff does not mean that your problems go away. And in fact, if the Lord is to be believed, which generally speaking is a good idea, it can increase your troubles, not only in this life, but indeed in the life to come. Yeah, I think, is it Ephesians, more money, more problems? I think that's right, exactly. I think that's exactly right. Or was that Biggie? I think it was Ephesians. I don't know. I think it was Ephesians. Maybe James. James has some hard things to say about the wealthy and our commitment to the poor. But so I highly recommend Father Thomas DeBay's book, Happy Are the Poor. And I just want to encourage you not to take it lightly and not to just say, yeah, I'm fine. Now, I don't need to really live anything radical, but I'm kind of detached. We don't need an extra whatever, car, boat, house, cabin, whatever else. And I think I'm detached from those things. Please don't fool yourself. And this book was very convicting for me. I got a long ways to go. And yeah, I think I just going to want to talk with my wife and see how we can live this a lot better. I know I struggle with it a lot more than she does. I like the I like the upgrades to certain stuff, like watches and whatever. Ooh, that watch can do this thing. So I definitely struggle with this. I'm not preaching from being at the top of the mountain, that's for sure. But the book was quite convicting, and I definitely want to live this a lot better. So if you see me around, ask me if I'm living it better. And I think I'd still love to start the Oakdale Catholic Commune.
Yeah.
So if you're all on board to live Acts 2, the early Christian life to the fullest, I'm totally on board. Let's do it. I have no preoccupations with whatever.
I've been very intrigued by the Catholic worker movement. I don't know a lot about it, but obviously we have not obviously, but we have a house in Stillwater, and who knows? Maybe we should have a Catholic worker house in Oakdale, Minnesota.
Sure,
we'll see.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
really.
maybe that might be a subject for a future podcast.
All right,
everybody. Transfiguration again exists to bring all those in East Metro to Jesus Christ, the source and summit of our daily and eternal lives. Have a blessed Lent. Know of our prayers for you all. Pray for us. Pray for your fellow parishioners, and we will see you in church. Peace.